morning. Nice to be here with all these open-minded people, talking about how to build wealth through business, real estate, and stock market investing in 10 years, starting from literally zero and without any inheritance. First of all, who am I? I'm Fabio Faccin. From my name and from my accent, you may notice I'm from Oxford, UK, and why are you laughing? Okay, I'm Italian. I'm founder of Performance PPC, a digital advertising agency. Today I'm also an investor. And very important, I'm not a financial advisor, so all I will say today is just based on my direct experience, no any kind of advice. I'm author of I Dream of Freedom, a book I wrote 5 years ago about how to start to work as a freelance. By the way, I have 5 copies of the book there, so for who is starting their career online, I will give them 500 bucks. No, joking, I will give it for free. I want to start with a question for you. What are you looking for? We have talked about this a lot in these days. What is your final goal? Why are you here? Why are you working online? What's the final goal? Money or something else? Don't be shy. I will give a book to who will answer. Independence, yeah. Yeah. In other words, could also be freedom, I think, no? We are all here for freedom. But what is the real freedom? Freedom will change during our life. We chase freedom from poverty, so we start to work. Then we chase freedom from a boss or an office, and we start to work remotely or start our business. But then we are still dependent from clients or still from our boss. So what is the real freedom? Because I think that this could just be a bigger or more shiny hamster wheel, right? So for me, I have a clear answer. And for me, freedom is the possibility to say no. No to people I don't like, no to places I don't like to live, no to projects I don't like to work with, right? In other words, is the doing something because I choose and not because I need. So freedom is not achievable, in my point of view, with a high active income, but only with a net worth invested that can create a cash flow that covers my life costs. And how can I create this net worth? There are 2 phases in our investor life. The first is the accumulation phase, and you can see it as when you build a machine, a mechanism that can spin the wheel automatically. And then there's the distribution phase, and that moment where the machine is built and it spins automatically our wheel and create a cash flow for us without our active effort. So I will share here my journey to build a network. And this is me in last November, in Patagonia, Argentina, beautiful place. Who have been there? Go, because it's wow, a lot of people. The nature is amazing, and here I realized that I could be potentially financial free, because I was checking my investment, I was checking my net worth, and I realized that I reached my goal. But in that moment, I was thinking that 10 years before, I was still delivering pizzas to earn extra money. My net worth was literally 0 or maybe 1,000 euro. So I didn't have a picture of myself delivering pizza, but AI helps me. And it's pretty accurate, me delivering pizza under the rain, perfect. So how can I do this change? Well, I started my business in 2016. I started freelance business as digital advertising consultant. I think this is an important step because we have to notice this, that here the important thing is to earn a lot of money at the beginning. Earn more than the average if you want to reach financial freedom in 10 years. So it could be a good paid employee job, or the easiest way is start a business. And at the beginning, below there, all the things I've invested in that period. And at the beginning, I was full focus on my business. So I invest all in professional training, events, conferences, to do networking, improve my skills, improve my income. Then I save and invest. I start to save and invest. I could spend more, but I save. I avoid to increase my life inflation. And I start to create my emergency fund. I start to invest in bonds, stocks, crowdfunding platforms. I lose money on that. Then in 2020, I optimized taxation, another important step for me, because I moved to Malta, I save on taxes, and I could invest more. So this it was very, very important. And I started investing in ETFs and crypto. Then I start to diversify in real estate with flippings. Flippings means buy a property, renew it, and sell it. But you don't have to buy a whole property. You can invest with a company. You can invest 10,000, 20,000 euro and participate to a bigger project. Okay, so they do all for you. And in gold. And then in 2024, it happens interesting thing, the compound interest turning point, where the return of my investment were higher than my contribution. I invested like more or less 1,500 euro in ETFs per month. And at that point, I saw, for example, that the return from my investment was 2,000 euro per month. So I realized that my contribution was less important than the compound interest. And I started investing in properties to let. I bought 2 properties to let in Spain and in dividend stocks. So I started to invest in distribution assets. And from 2026 and the next years, my goal is to live off investments. So first of all, you have to know your FIRE number. What's my goal? How can I say that I reach my goal? What will be your goal? Your financial freedom number is that amount of net worth where the 4% is enough to pay for your yearly expenses. And the easiest way to calculate it is multiply by 25 your yearly expenses. For example, I spend more or less 30,000 euro per year. My financial freedom number is 750,000 euro. So this is my financial freedom number. You can calculate your number. How to get richer than most people? I will answer, do the opposite of what most people do. Because I noticed some behavior in people that is not that good. For example, people at the beginning, they chase fast money. They had 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 euro to invest, and they immediately start to invest in crypto, and they do trading, and they end losing it all. As Warren Buffett say, you can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant, okay? So time is very important, and what most people don't understand is that money can create, that money is made with work, okay? So you have to focus with in your work, in your business at the beginning. The investment is necessary to protect the money and to make them grow, okay? So this is the correct order. The money you have to focus on increase your earning. Then people spend for status. If they have 1,000 euro as bonus, they immediately think, how can I spend this money? Okay? They don't think that money can create other money. And they don't understand the cost opportunity. For example, in my case, I still live in a rented property, and I use my debt capacity to buy 2 properties to rent out. Okay, because I understand the cost opportunity that I will have lose if I bought the property to live. Other mistake is don't understand debt. The average people think that all the debts are bad, but it's not, because when a debt is create for you positive cash flow, it's a good debt. So let's go deep in what to invest in. Again, just my experience. I did like that. First of all, I've created my emergency fund. It should be at least 6 months of living costs. Okay, so for me, it's about 15,000 euro. And it's invested in safe assets like liquidity, deposit account, bonds. Then, when I start to invest and I was far from my financial freedom number, I invest mainly in ETF, so my core investment was ETF. Then I have also single stocks and crypto as a speculative investment or fun money, okay? Choose the stock I think is growing. And also always had 10-15% of liquidity and gold to catch opportunities in the market. Then when I get closer to my financial freedom number, I diversified my core investment in also real estate, buy-to-let, and dividend stocks. And also I start investing, as I said, in flipping projects, participative projects in real estate. Stock market, ETFs. Who invests in ETFs here? Okay, 50%. Mainly, invest in ETFs, it means buy all the market. Okay, so I invest in global ETFs, so with one single product, I buy the main 200, 2,000, 2,500 companies globally. And in the long term, it has always grown, till today, at least. And so it's no brain, you don't have to choose in which company to bet, okay, or to invest, but you basically buy all the market. And when you look at an ETF, there are some things to focus on. And the first is the font size, the higher the better. The second is the cost, the TER, the cost, the lower the better. And the distribution type. They are accumulating ETFs and distributing ETF. It means accumulating, it means that the dividends paid by the companies, including ETF, are reinvested in the same ETF. And it's more tax efficiency, and so is because you don't pay taxes on the dividends, and is recommended for your accumulation phase. Then the distributing ETF, the dividends paid by the company, included in ETFs, are distributed to the investor, to you. So it's good for creating cash flow, to create income. So it's better in your distribution phase when you reach your financial freedom number. And then I start, now that I'm close to my financial freedom number, as I said, I start to invest in dividend stocks. It's like buying company like Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, Pepsi. So historical companies that had high dividends and growing dividends. So they are more stable and they have less volatility. And for example, here with 98,000 portfolio, it can create 5,000 of income, passive income annually. And then go to deep on real estate. I consider to invest in real estate after reaching 250,000 of net worth. Why? Because real estate needs more money to invest in and is less liquid. The important thing that I look when I consider an investment is the liquidity. An ETF is good for the beginning because it's very liquid. You can buy and sell it with one click. Real estate, no. If you want to sell, if you find another opportunity or you need money fast, you need to wait 2, 3, 6 months. It depends. So it's better to consider real estate. I consider real estate after 250K of net worth. Where to invest? In growing market. I always consider only growing markets. For example, this is the neighborhood where I bought in Spain. that is the property value has increased by 24% in 1 year, in the last year. And here there's the table of the main countries where the property value has increased the most in the last 12 months. So growing markets. How to invest? With flipping. I already told what is flipping, and buy to let. That means buy a property to let out, to rent out. And here, there's the main advantage of investing in real estate. That is debt. So I say we want freedom, but then we have to have debt. Mortgage is the opposite of freedom, no? But for me, no. I will explain why with a simple table. For example, if we buy a property worth 200,000 euro, we receive a net rent of 15,000, and we have a profit of 7.5%. 15 over 200,000. If we buy the same property, but with a mortgage, we put only 40,000 as our equity, cash, and 160,000 is mortgage. We pay 4% interest on that mortgage. We have still 50,000 of annual rent, but we pay 6,400 of interest rate to the bank. So we have a net profit of only 8,600, but we have put only 40,000 in that project. So our net profit is 21.5%, the triple as we bought it without mortgage. So if we have 200,000 to invest, and the bank can give us enough mortgage, we could buy 5 properties with the same amount of money. I invested in 2 properties now in Spain. Both are in Spain. And there are different ways to make money with real estate. I use 2 of these. That is adding value and solving problems. Adding value, the first apartment that I bought close to University of Alicante in Spain. It was an old apartment, very, very old, and never renew it. It has maybe 60 or 70 years. And it has 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and 1 living room. We changed it. We changed the living room in 1 more bedroom. We create the 2nd bathroom, and we open here the kitchen to create the common area. And so we add value to the property. Also, we totally renovate it. So this is the kitchen, this is the living room, this now is the new bedroom. And this allowed you to add value to the property. The total investment was 145,000, but thanks to mortgage, I put only 90,000 on the project, and it was only 60% mortgage on the property value because I'm not resident there, so maximum they give 60%. And this produced me ROE of 15% per year, plus the annual property appreciation that in the last year in that area was 15%. Then, another way to invest in real estate is solving problems. In this case, this property in Valencia, the sellers have urgency to sell because they have a lot of debts, so they needed to sell it in 10 days. I had my liquidity fund for the opportunities that the market can offer. So I bought it, and then I bought it with cash, and then I asked for a mortgage for it to receive other liquidity to continue investing and diversifying in other assets. And so since the seller has urgency to sell, I could bought it at a good price. And the total investment, considering all the costs, the notary, the taxes, the agency fees, was 220,000. But the property value in that moment was 245,000. So at the moment where I signed at the notary office, my net worth has increased by 25%, it's 25,000 euro. So there's a lot of way to make your network grow. This apartment give me an ROE of 11.8% plus the annual appreciation that in last year was 24%. So now, if I sell on Monday, tomorrow, if I sell the property, it would probably worth 290,000. So I share my experience on how I create networks, and ask yourself, are you building something that can work without you? If not, you can come at the workshop next week on January 22 at 9:30 at Fellowship Cafe. So it's a side event that I have organized, and we can go more deep. I can answer questions and go more deep on how to choose ETFs, how to invest in real estate. Always based on my experience, I'm not a financial advisor. So you don't need to be born rich to live the life you dream of. Thank you.